Anyone with 5s in the scores must be using Berserk mode. Not something you'll see me do. 1922, good luck. We've not played before, no head-to-head score. 7,000 games rapid, that's very, very good. Okay, let's just develop. Let's just get the bishop into play. Normally I'd try and develop like this, but I won't this game. If you go here, you can in some lines end up running into problems. Yeah, let's just develop in castle. Slow and steady and traditional. Okay, I'm going to bring the knight up and try and push forward this way, I think. Try and push this pawn rather than this pawn. Oh, that's a very slight target now. Okay, I'm going to get the rook across. I'd still prefer to do this and then get c3 rather than playing c4, but we could try and put the bishop where this is challenging this idea, I suppose. Now, do I want to drop the bishop back or do I want to try and let him do this? I don't think he'll do that though. So I'm looking at knight up. e4, not quite. Actually, I'm going to push the pawn. It does mean I can't challenge his bishop here, but I don't think that's a big problem, so I won't worry about that. Oh, he has gone for it. Wow. Okay, so he might be going all in here. This king's going to potentially struggle for safety. So if I take here, knight up, what's his idea? Knight up, takes, f6, back, up, pawn up. It's kind of committal, but I think I'm alright. So I'm going to take. Might be proven wrong, of course. Now I could play here and try and encourage this. Then I can go here and okay, I might lose a pawn, but I'm definitely not going to... hold on, if he did that, I've got this, haven't I? So if I come back and attack the pawn, he might have to do a move like c5. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to drop back. I can always go c3 to guard this structure. I think I'm in time to push a pawn here, but if he launches one, then I've got to check, and his king's a little bit perilous. Very bold, very aggressive, might well work, of course. And my idea here was just to play simply c3. I think that's what I'm going to do. If takes, I'll probably take with the c pawn rather than the e pawn. Just try and keep this bishop behind some sort of structure. But if I have to play h3, it's immediately a target for the pawn advances. h4, it might fall, so it's very risky, this very double-edged. But I do have potentially bishop here. Yeah, now I've got bishop there for sure, and I can trade the bishop off without it being trapped. So I'm going to pop the bishop there. So now there's no risk of my bishop being trapped by a pawn, because I can just trade it for the knight if I want to. Do I do this? Well, he's kind of trying to force the bishop off. Knight up might be an interesting move. Takes, knight takes. I'm not sure, I'm just going to take and develop the knight, I think. I'm wondering whether to push this pawn as well. But I'll get a development move with the tempo on the queen. My bishop guards the knight as well. So a5 I'm looking at, maybe it's not achieving a massive amount, but the knight's got a nice square in the middle to jump to. But I don't really want to move this pawn and unleash the power of the black bishop there. Okay. So here you might just do this. So what about bishop up first? Then my knight's not actually guarded if you take. Here you've got this. Yeah, I'm just that one move short. If I do this, then this pawn is weak. That doesn't look quite so good. I'm looking at bishop up as well. If knight takes, queen takes, I've given up the bishop, but it mixed it up, but this knight's loose. Pawn up, you can just push. Pawn up, it weakens this. I really don't know what to do. I'm going to play knight across because I'm burning too much clock. Knight back, I mean, I've always got the option to trade, but I could throw it. Actually, I can throw a bishop up, can't I? The knight goes back, I've got bishop up, and he'll have to go defensive. And then we can maybe try and push through the middle at some point. Ah, knight back, bishop up. Then I've got queen coming up this way. He might end up having to castle into it. So that could be a mistake. Okay. So why can't I throw a check in now? I think I can, so I'm going to. I'm just wondering whether to take a really big risk and do something like this, but right now the bishop would get trapped. I'm expecting just to move like this, but it's been very, very bold here. Oh, he's gone there. Okay. I'm going to try and open things up, or do I? Yeah, I am. I'm going to try and open it up in a slightly unconventional way to try and get to that king. I just want to be careful not to trap my pieces. Actually, I might have... Well, no, you need the pawn to get to my knight. Otherwise, if I go here, then there's this, but... Very interesting position, isn't it? Very interesting. I'm threatening to kind of half open things up, but like I say, I don't want to particularly move this pawn though and just open the diagonal completely. Okay, so he's just carried on and pushed the pawn. I'm gonna take, and I'm looking at maybe rook across. So I'm gonna do that, try not to burn too much clock. The bishop may be right the way back, depends how these pawns get pushed. Ultimately, the idea would be whichever one pushes, I counter push. That's likely to be the idea. How do we break through? Knight sack at some point might be an idea, but I don't see anything obvious. Now that tempts me to go forward, but this bishop, risk of being trapped, this pawn is a target. What about just a simple queen here? Threaten to come back. I guess you go there. Yeah, I don't like the look of that, but here, a move like this. I'm just going to step up one. This bishop, I think, needs to come all the way back, but I'm not quite sure. But if I had the bishop back now, I'd be able to potentially push and push. But again, there's pros and cons. The knight would then be loose. It's a general concept, though. If that pawn moves, I've got a check, but my opponent might want to sack at some point. But surely this helps me just open the file. If knight down, I can just come across with a pin. If knight check, I can take, and my rook still guards my rook. So knight down, I don't think wins the forces material off the board. I'm just threatening to activate my rook now. Black can try the same ideas as well, of course. I'm also trying to consider if this is a move. Like, it's in more in the longer term, maybe not now, but... How do we do this? Yeah, queen down. I don't really want to trade that, so I'm looking at jumping across. Knight down. I can go here, I guess, and then I'm threatening maybe bishop up. I've got to be careful. If I'm here though, knight here is a move. Actually, it is if I go there as well, but I want to try and keep on the board, but if the knight comes here, there's a fork. But I'd like to play a move like bishop up and get rid of this annoying bishop. Then I can try and target removing this pawn. If I do this though, I'm inviting a pawn forward. Even if you sack one and get rid of the other one, but surely now my opponent's allowing a rook across these sort of ideas, but maybe just a more direct bishop up. Yeah, I'm going to try and get rid of that bishop and go after the king. Oh, let's not pre-move anything, because, I mean, it's pretty certain that's what I'm going to do, but... No, they're not far off, are they? They're not far off. No, I'm trying to get after this. Yeah, he's gone back. But no. Where does that queen actually go? Hold on, have I got to move like queen up here, threatening nasties? What's wrong with that? Queen up, bishop down. It's just covered, right? Rook across, a check. I'm going to play queen up rather than this. Threatening to crash through, so there is a serious threat on the board. Again, just click anywhere to clear the markings. We're both under 5 minutes now. Right, the queen's gone back. So now bishop up is not quite what I want to play. Maybe now I come across. Try and control this. Knight down, I just simply check. So queen's come up. So now I've maybe got bishop here, but maybe not. Rook across. What about knight back then? Knight check, bishop takes, rook takes, looks good. Oh yeah, if you allow rook across, I've got... No, knight check doesn't quite work, does it? Bishop up, rook across. Oh, knight check. Actually, it does work. I'm going to risk it. If it's a blunder, it's a blunder. Take, I'm just going to take back. Rook across, I think I've got knight check winning an exchange, but then I'm still walking into a pin. So it's not without risk this, and I haven't obviously taken the time to really calculate it all. But I'll pre-move to take if takes here. Yeah, it's chosen to push forward. This is where I thought I could push and allow this, or even step behind, or maybe just even take. Actually, what about take? Take, push. Or take this way, that's loose, isn't it? I'm hoping I can take and gamble and take here. I think my next move is to take the bishop if you play, say, pawn down. I think that's my next move. Again, I'll pre-move in case takes. At least it's not a boring game, this one. As it only takes one little slip, one missed move. Again, get the cursor off the board, there's no accidental slips. Yeah, he has chosen to push. Now I thought, I mean obviously I could take, but it opens the father, but I thought I was in time to take the bishop. And if you take here, then take the knight, and just argue that I'm up a lot of material, and my king feels actually relatively safe. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, threatening to take the knight next move, which I think I can do. So I'm doing it. If you take, I think I can just simply take back, and I think my king isn't in immediate danger, and I think that king is in very big danger now. You need to spend a move to grab the bishop. You do it with a queen. I simply trade and I'm up a lot of material. Otherwise, I'm threatening to go after the king. I just got to make sure that my king is protected. Hope I haven't miscalculated. Right, so I can just trade the queen, but I can come here first. And where on earth does that king go? Here, you're just getting checkmated somehow. I mean, this should be winning now. Here, just here. Then I can, worst case, I can just take the queen trade if I don't see a checkmate. Okay. So I think we check. You have to go there. If I don't see a win, I can simply trade the queen and we're completely winning. And I don't see a win, to be fair, but if I move the rook, the knight has a check here. I'm not going to mess about, just grab the pawn. It does allow a check, but I should be perfectly fine. Or I can activate this rook. How do I do that? Yeah, double the rooks up, threaten a check to get one of the rooks off the board. We're up a pawn and a knight, it should be winning, and we're up on the clock. A dangerous, dangerous game. Oh, he's happy to trade anyway, okay. So take, take. Well, this has to be winning. Just take. Just block. He can't afford to trade because then that's just hopeless for black. If he moves, I can just take the pawn. So do I need to kick that king first? I don't think I do. I think I simply collect and put my king safe-ish. Knight down would guard this pawn. Everything should be winning here. Just knight down to guard. Run the pawn up the board. Just got to avoid stalemates now. So drop the knight back. Make sure that king has a legal move. So there's no stalemate risk in somewhere, but this should be winning. Just advance the pawn. I think I played this one pretty well. Okay, so I think we just advance here. And again, and again, and again. But you've always got to pay attention, just if that king gets in a position where it's got no legal moves, then there's a potential stalemate risk. But I can quite happily trade all these off and there's nothing black can do then. Okay, you swing right across the board. If you take, I simply check. Now take, now collect. Okay, that's a very good win, excellent.